Você já pensou se conseguisse viver por muito mais tempo do que o normal? E se eu te dissesse que existe não apenas uma, e sim 5 fórmulas para você conseguir viver muito mais e saudavelmente? O que você faria se tivesse um poder desses em mãos? Aceitaria ou recusaria? Doutor Peter Attia é um médico de renome mundial, formado em medicina pela Universidade de Stanford. Ele é muito mais conhecido por ter os segredos para viver uma vida longa, saudável e feliz. Ele escreveu um dos livros que já ajudou milhares de pessoas, chamado Outlive, a arte e a ciência de viver mais e melhor. Voltando ao vídeo de hoje, em uma de suas entrevistas, ele revela os 5 maiores segredos para se ter uma vida longa e saudável. Por isso mesmo, vamos reagir a essa entrevista e ver o que ele tem a nos ensinar no vídeo de hoje. Vamos lá.
Medicine 3.0, as we talked about earlier, you talk about these 5 core things that help to increase our chances of longevity as it relates to our health span. So what are those 5 things?
Exercise. Again, we can talk a lot about it if you want, a little about it, but the point is, it is not remotely given anything beyond lip service by Medicine 2.0. Medicine, if you go to your doctor here at the NHS and say, okay, tell me what my workouts should be, like, good luck, right? How much time should I be spending in zone 2 versus zone 5? Like, what type of lifting there's no way they're going to give you that type of insight or specificity. The third one is nutrition. Again, sure, every doctor is going to tell you, eat less, exercise more, but they're not really, for the most part, going to be able to help you manage nutrition. Certainly, I didn't learn anything about nutrition or exercise when I was going through my medical training, and most physicians don't. So I'm not saying that there aren't doctors out there who don't understand these things. What I'm going to say is they had to learn that stuff on their own outside of their traditional training.
So crazy.
The fourth one is sleep, and that fits in the same category. Sleep is an essential pillar of health, but we learn nothing about it in our medical training. In fact, most of our medical training is paradoxically sleep deprived.
Sleep's really important to you, isn't it?
For sure.
Super important to me as well.
Yeah.
It's been life-changing. This little Whoop thing.
I see that.
Absolutely changed my life. It's the first
and
thing
you've probably noticed how your Whoop score changes with and without alcohol in your
one
system.
glass, and it's all flashing red. And the first time that happened, I had 1 glass of wine, and I woke up the next day, and my vital signs, my heart rate variability was flashing red, and it literally says, "Did you have a drink last night?" It changed my life.
Yeah.
It changed my life forever. And honestly, I'm absolutely obsessed with sleep in a very healthy way. Some people think, oh, that's, you might be waking up and feeling bad. No, I look at it, and if I've not slept well, I'll adjust my day accordingly. You share some stats around sleeping in the book. What is the stat or the 2 stats that changed your perspective on sleeping, or that really you would tell someone if you're trying to convince them of the importance of sleep?
It's so interesting. I'll tell you, it's not even a stat. I think it's more of, it almost goes back to the type of discussion you'd have with somebody like a Daniel Lieberman, right? Thinking about this through the lens of our ancestors. So I was always someone who deprioritized sleep. Very busy person, high energy, didn't really seem to need that much of it. Even in high school, was sort of always go, go, go. And at one point I was sort of having a discussion with a colleague about sleep, and I was making the argument that, like, I didn't really need any of it, and I almost, made a point, like, it's almost a shame we can't just work our way out of it. And he sort of posed to me in a very Socratic way, well, given how evolutionarily unwise sleep would be, right? You are unconscious for a third of your life. And we know that our ancestors slept on an average of about 7 to 8 hours every 24 hours. They didn't do it always straight away, but we know that they're sleeping basically a third of their life. That's a time when you can't forage for food. You can't defend yourself against predators. You're not mating. Like, there's nothing from an evolutionary perspective you're doing. Those are the 3 highest priorities of evolution, and you're not doing them. Why would evolution have kept this thing around? Like, and by the way, why has no species figured out a way out of it? And I think through that lens, I was sort of like, yeah, interesting. Maybe this thing does matter. So in some ways, I think that's probably one of the most powerful things that you can hear. And sure, there are lots of statistics about how fragmented sleep, broken sleep, or short sleep can increase your risk, in particular of cardiovascular disease and dementia. I think there's a less clear relationship to cancer, but I think the relationship is quite clear to cardiovascular disease and dementia, in addition to insulin resistance and obviously therefore weight gain. So for people, even if you're just coming at this through the lens of weight or excess body fat, I mean, that's probably motivation enough for many people. And then of course there's how you feel and how you perform.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And your creativity and your ability to articulate yourself, which I notice, and your mood, huge one for me, especially when you're running teams. Unslept days are my worst days.
The fifth and final thing that you have as a tool in the longevity toolkit is all the molecules. So drugs, hormones, supplements. And that's the one thing you sort of do learn in traditional medicine is you at least learn about the pharmacologic side of it. You don't really learn anything about supplements. So most doctors don't really understand much about supplements. And interestingly, most doctors don't really understand a lot about hormones as well. So Medicine 2.0 is good at what it does, but it's very limited. So it's kind of like having a contractor that only has one tool instead of 5 tools. And as we discussed earlier, I think they're applying those tools too late in the game.
Se você chegou até aqui, por favor se inscreva para não perder mais conteúdos que agregarão valores reais para você como este. E diga aí nos comentários sobre qual foi o maior ensinamento que você tirou daqui hoje. Obrigado e tamo juntos.